Job Wrestling Hour with your host, the ConKaiserdor and old school Avis Hathaway. Pin me, pay me, do your job. Pin me, pay me, do your job. Pin me, pay me, do your job. Pin me, pay me.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another outstanding, exciting, and just the best edition of the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour, the best, most original, and fan-friendly wrestling radio show there is today. I am the ConKaiserdor. Alongside me is the one and only jobber of them all, old school Avis Hathaway. What's going on there, bud?
Oh, not a whole lot, man. How you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good, bud. It's been a pretty good week. A lot of good wrestling stuff going on. The road to WrestleMania continues. And to cap it all off, bud, we have a great show tonight. We have on our show the Red Devil Fight Team, and they'll be on the show, guy. They are the CCW tag champs and a great upcoming tag team out of Florida. So pretty excited to have them on tonight.
Yeah, it should be cool. This is our first tag team we're having on, so the dynamic will be a little bit different. We have both members on. It should be pretty interesting.
Absolutely. It's going to be pretty awesome, guy. I'm really looking forward to it, and a great night of wrestling talk, bud. So there's been a lot of headlines and news and whatnot, and tonight is the Victory Road pay-per-view from TNA. I know that's currently in progress, and I did read a few of the spoilers. You want to kick us off with some news, old bud?
Well, as you said, as you alluded to, tonight's the TNA Victory Road pay-per-view. So that's probably the number one headline right now, as it's beginning, probably already started. Just we'll run down the card real quick on that, just to kind of touch on it if anybody's not familiar. Actually, it doesn't sound like that bad of a pay-per-view. You got Sting versus Jeff Hardy for the world title, Matt Morgan versus Hernandez in a First Blood match. You also got Mr. Anderson versus Rob Van Dam in a number one contenders match, Matt Hardy versus AJ Styles, TNA Tag Team title match between Beer Money and Inc. Inc., Bully Ray versus Tommy Dreamer, an X Division match for the X Division Championship between Kazarian, Robbie E., Max Buck, and Jeremy Buck, and a Knockouts tag match between Angelina Love and Winter and Sarita and Rosita for the Knockouts Tag Team Championship. TNA, obviously, I'm not expecting too much from this pay-per-view, but on paper it sounds like it's a pretty decent show.
It certainly does. Seems like it's a pretty decent show. They got a lot of storylines going on right now, and this is hopefully going to either continue on with more of those stories or maybe put some of these to an end and then start off some new storylines and angles. But, yeah, it seems like it's a fairly decent pay-per-view on paper. I know catching last week's Impact show, a little disappointing, wasn't the best show. I kind of had it with the whole Karen Angle, Jeff Jarrett thing. I don't think anybody really cares about that. But TNA's rating's still pretty steady, guy. They seem to be holding over a 1 rating for the last couple weeks.
Yeah, which really isn't bad for TNA. The thing is, it's right about before they went to Mondays, tried the whole Monday Night War thing. That's pretty much where they were at. So they've gotten back to that place.
Yeah, they certainly have. So I think they found their niche, they found their fan base, and it's good to see another wrestling organization out there, and there are people who are watching it. Certainly competition breeds better shows, better product overall. So certainly a good thing. If you're listening to the show, call in 714-694-4101. We'll have the Red Devil Fight Team, great tag team out of Florida, on the show in just a little bit here. You can also follow us on Twitter at DoYourJob_J.O.B. and like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour. Make sure you have periods between J.O.B. So it's going to be a great show tonight, guy. You got the Red Devil Fight Team on here. And speaking of tag team wrestling, on SmackDown, there was the reuniting, it's been 10 years, of the E and C connection of Edge and Christian. They reunited and tagged together.
You know, I love Edge and Christian. I love Edge and Christian. I'm always happy to see them reunite. You know, I've been doing some running around. I have a pretty full DVR still to catch up on, but you know, I did catch a little bit of it, and I did see Edge and Christian reunite.
Yep, they wrestled Brodus Clay and Alberto Del Rio, and it was awesome to see them back wrestling with one another there. So certainly it was a good SmackDown, I thought, in progressing some of the storylines for WrestleMania, and as well as on the previous Raw show. You know, still a lot of John Cena and The Rock going back and forth with their promos and stuff. I'm not sure what to expect for that. What do you think is going to happen at WrestleMania between those two?
You know, I expect that it's going to end up with John Cena defeating The Miz for the belt, and that's going to lead to The Rock coming down. They're going to be like a little confrontation between the two, you know, maybe a stare down, something to that effect. And then I think it's going to turn into The Miz gets up and The Rock delivers, you know, a rock bottom, maybe a people's elbow, and you know, Cena not even one-ups him, but then, you know, maybe delivers a attitude adjustment or a five-knuckle shuffle. And, you know, they kind of have that mutual respect stare down where Rock kind of begrudgingly gives his approval to John Cena type of thing, so the crowd goes home happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it'll be worth the money to kind of see what they do with this, as well as some of the other storylines and other matches they have for WrestleMania. And WrestleMania would not be WrestleMania without hearing this song at least once this WrestleMania season. That is one of the greatest WrestleMania theme songs in history, Bud. Don't you agree?
Oh, it's got to be right up there.
It's one of my all-time favorites, of course. But in just a little bit here, we're going to have on live with us the Red Devil Fight Team. It's going to be an awesome interview. You don't want to miss it. These guys are a great upcoming tag team from Russia. They currently wrestle in Coastal Championship Wrestling as well as Victory Wrestling Association out of Florida, and now the new relaunched FOW, Future of Wrestling, which you and I have been big fans of living in South Florida. So really exciting stuff.
They're a pretty well-traveled group of guys, the Red Devil Fight Team. And as you alluded to earlier, they CCW Tag Team Champs. And like you said, FOW recently relaunched, and you know, it was good news. FOW was a real good promotion down here. They bring in some big names and have a good mix with some local stars, and you know, it's good to see them coming back and running shows again.
Absolutely, I agree. And a lot of good stuff happening in Florida wrestling, you know, a lot of good wrestling promotions down there and a lot of great wrestlers, and we have two of the best on our show tonight. One other bit of news I want to get into, guy, one of our favorites on the show, the Long Island Iced Z, Zack Ryder, announced on his Twitter that WWEshop.com will begin selling headbands bearing his insignia soon. Will you be buying one?
You know what? I'd almost be tempted because I am DZP.
Dude, I wish we can get him on the show. That would certainly be that would be a landmark event. I don't know if it ever happened.
You know, never say never. But the thing about him is he's actually got a pretty cult-like following. If you follow him on Twitter or you know, you kind of look around, he's for a, you know, quote-unquote lower mid-card jobber type of character, he's got a pretty good following, man. And, I think he's hilarious, personally.
He's definitely,
you know it.
He's definitely one of the best, guy. There's no doubt about that. But we're going to take just a quick little break here. But when we come back, we're going to have on live with us the Red Devil Fight Team. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour on blogtalkradio.com/doyourjob.
Уважаемые граждане России, дорогие ветераны Великой Отечественной войны,
let's welcome to the show Mikhail Ivanov and Alexander Chekhov of the Red Devil Fight Team. Welcome to the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour, guys.
Добрый вечер. Good evening, sir.
Good to meet you guys. Thank you.
It's great to have you on the show. How are you guys doing this evening?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much, sir. Sitting here watching Celebrity Apprentice on the television, very much like. Very good. Donald Trump, outstanding man. Outstanding man. I very much like the American television. Very good.
You know, my fiance forced me to watch that show last week, and it was, I think I was blinded partially.
Say that Gary
Blinded
Busey is crazy.
How can you be blinded by such a great man, Donald Trump? He's very good. Very good.
Don't forget to get it, Kyle.
Are you a fan of Gary Busey?
Gary Busey, tremendous. Tremendous entertainer. Very good man. Very good man.
In our country, in Russia, Gary Busey is seen as your Charlie Sheen. He is Russian hero.
Gary Busey, very, very popular. He is like a David Hasselhoff to Germany.
David Hasselhoff, huh?
Great stuff.
Yes, sir.
Great
very
stuff.
much.
It's awesome to have you guys on the show. You guys are one of the upcoming tag teams in Florida, and I know you guys are currently the CCW tag champs, and also we're part of the relaunch of FOW as well. So kind of how did you guys get your start in the business? And I know you guys are from Russia, so how did it all begin?
We moved to United States, young age, roughly around 12, 13 years old. I was a little bit older than Alexander. We live in Boston, Massachusetts. We train with a great man up in Boston and in Rhode Island. His name is Bruto Bob Evans. He managed in Ring of Honor the prodigy Mike Bennett. Very good wrestling trainer. Very, very good man. And after that, on top of training with Mr. Evans, we also train with Steve Bradley out of New Hampshire. Mr. Bradley, he passed away about 2.5 years ago when we first moved to Florida. Great wrestling trainer. Former WWE developmental for many years. And we moved to Florida, and then we started training with Superfly Jimmy Snuka down here in Fort Lauderdale. And ever since, we've just been going all out, just trying to get out there and have a good time, wrestle, compete, and try to be entertaining and just do our thing, man. You know, is that how they say it here? Do our thing? Yes.
I think that's the right term.
That's awesome. That's great. You guys seem pretty well traveled in your training, and now you're in Florida. What actually brought you to South Florida specifically?
It was to train with the Superfly Jimmy Snuka. He had school opening down in South Florida with Coastal Championship Wrestling, and we needed opportunity to train with him. He is very great, very traveled man, and he offered to train us, and along with the Soul Man LXG, and we've had to do this because this is kind of men we need to train with, the greats of wrestling.
Hey,
That's awesome.
It's been a great time down here. There's many good, very good performers, many good athletes down here in South Florida, all over the state of Florida. Actually, when we were in Tampa 2 weekends ago, we worked for Victory Wrestling out of Port Richey. A man by Al Schaefer run the show. Very good experience. We wrestled Blaine Rage and Lex Lovett. Yes, very good.
Lex Lovett is former NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship held by Craig Classic right now. Very good wrestler.
You guys are, I mean, I've watched some of your videos and stuff, and, you know, my co-host is actually still down in South Florida. I'm in Baltimore right now, but I'm from the South Florida area. And Florida's always been known for...
Baltimore, yes. I very much like the Orioles. My baseball team of choice, yes. Very good, very good. I have Orioles jersey hanging in my home, signed by 2014. Outstanding, very good.
You like the fact that they haven't been good in years, or you're hoping for a better season this year?
I hope for a better season. They're not very good the past few years, but I still like them. I still support them nonetheless. So we keep my fingers crossed.
I gotta say though, Camden Yards is one of the nicest baseball parks to see a game. So if you haven't experienced that, have you guys done any work out in the Mid-Atlantic area at all?
We have when we travel to not so much Mid-Atlantic, more New England. That's where we got our start. Obviously, we travel to Boston to work for NECW. New England Championship Wrestling, run by Sheldon Goldberg, very good man. We did Tag Team Classic Tournament past 2 years, and depending on, they just had the shift, I believe, up there in ownership, changed the name, and hopefully they run another tournament this year. We travel up there, and hopefully we win tournament this year. We make 2 finals past 2 years, but unfortunately did not win.
Your time's coming. I mean, you guys are certainly, one of the best upcoming tag teams, so I could certainly see you guys taking home that victory at some point. You are listening to the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour on blogtalkradio.com/doyourjob. We have the Red Devil Fight Team live on the show.
Old school, it was Hathaway here. I got a quick question for you. Now, I was looking at some of your guys' background, and it looks like you guys are both active in Sambo. Did that kind of play a part of you guys wanting to get into wrestling? Is that part of your background?
Very much so. As young children, Mikhail and myself, we compete Sambo in Russia, we compete in Ukraine, and we also compete in Eastern European tournaments. As we come to America, Sambo not so popular, but we do find gyms to train at to keep the skills sharp, and we do compete and when possible.
Yes, and we actually try to keep as active as possible when we were up in New England. There's a place in New York City, American Sambo, and basically great teachers. We stopped by there several times, train, just keep, as Alexander said, keep skills sharp and try to learn new things that we can take into the professional wrestling. And that has definitely helped us. We did not compete MMA, mostly just Sambo competition, Sambo tournaments, and some combat Sambo tournaments.
I know from like the WWE, Vladimir Kozlov, he was a Sambo practitioner at all. Have you had any ever met with him or ever seen his met with him through Sambo or anything like that?
We never met him. Would very much like to sit down just to speak with him. And I'm very, very positive that if anybody could teach us some definite new techniques, Sambo, anything along those lines as far as training, he would be the guy to speak with because he's very, very good at competition and combat Sambo. He was a champion kickboxer, champion Sambo, just very, very good athlete, and definitely somebody that we would like to very much sit down and maybe speak with and learn from as well. You never stop learning in this business.
Very true.
Either Sambo or professional wrestling.
Now, you guys recently, looks like the Future of Wrestling promotion here in South Florida has also relaunched. We were talking about a little bit before. Are you guys doing some work with them as well?
Very much. We start working for Future of Wrestling. They start up about a month or two ago. They invite us to compete. We did this weekend. We competed against the tag team of Army of Darkness. It was J.O.B. Brooks. He was son of former WWE wrestler Rusty Brooks, and Brian Brody, his beast. He's a small, ugly, little hairy man, and we beat them. But he is ugly as sin, I kid you not. He is what you would American say busted.
Very ugly, man. But very, very, very good competitor. Just very George
very different.
Growling, yelling, screaming, just very,
very different.
Very different. Yes, that's the best way to put it.
Well, I certainly do know who Rusty Brooks is. Rusty Brooks, infamous jobber in the WWF, where he actually got to wrestle Hulk Hogan. So
great man.
A couple more questions I wanted to ask you guys, because right now in the world of professional wrestling, tag team wrestling has kind of taken a backseat. It's more or less singles wrestling. What are your thoughts on that, and what career hopes do you guys have, and where would you like to see yourselves in the next 5 to 10 years?
Tag team wrestling, I do not think is something that is going to ever disappear. It's just like the rest of the wrestling business. It's always evolving, and always the wrestling business works in cycles. What works now might not work in like 5 years. What worked in 1997 does not work now. With taking two singles competitors, putting them together in a tag team, and putting them out there as a tag team is not something that is going to work the way it did back in the days of the Attitude Era of the WWE. Tag team wrestling is something that is definitely making a comeback, I believe, and within the next 5 years, hopefully, maybe either we can be fortunate enough to be competing on national television. If not national television, definitely competing internationally. We would love to go back over to Europe, love to go back home to Russia, and definitely Japan, and even Puerto Rico. All of which sound very good.
And I agree with you. I think that in some way tag team wrestling is kind of making a small comeback. I know there are some really good tag teams out there, like the Motor City Machine Guns and Beer Money, and of course you have your Santino and Kozlov tag team in WWE. But yeah, tag team wrestling is slowly making a comeback. But it does seem like a lot of times when there is a tag team that's on the horizon, sometimes it kind of gets pulled really quickly, and then they go down a singles route there. But kind of getting that international base, and it is very unfortunate what happened in Japan with the recent tsunami. Did you guys have any friends over there overseas wrestling in Japan?
Yes, we are friends with Mikhail and myself. We know Prince David, Fergal David. He wrestled for New Japan. He lives over in Japan, but he's okay. We also have trained with MVP as well. He is from Coastal Championship Wrestling, but he is okay as well. We'll actually see him on March 26th for CCW Anniversary 7 down here in Davie, Florida. But yes, MVP is okay as well.
And the Classic actually just made it back the day before he was taking off as everything was starting to happen. So he just made it out. Him and his family, his new wife, they just made it back just in time, and luckily everything worked out perfectly for them. He definitely locked it out.
Certainly, that's always a good thing there. It is very unfortunate what had happened there. Let me ask you this question, kind of shifting gears back to you guys growing up watching wrestling. When you guys were growing up watching wrestling, who were some of your favorite tag teams, and who were some of your inspirations for getting into the business?
Too many to name. For myself, oddly enough, everyone asks, I don't like the Russian tag teams too many. I like Hart Foundation. They were actually my favorites growing up. I love the Bret Hart. I think he's one of the best ever. And Jim Anvil, he was powerhouse. And I love the display and the timing between the two. They were a tag team that had that chemistry that it is not very much seen today. Lots of tag teams back in 80s, early 90s really inspired me. Rock was very good, very, very good. Legion of Doom, I like them a lot as well. But for me, myself, it has to be Hart Foundation.
As far as tag teams, I always enjoy Heavenly Bodies. I very much like the Russians, Nikita and Ivan Kulov, of course, naturally. Very, very good. Very, very good. Ivan Kulov, tremendous. Very, very much so. I'm also a very big fan of Mr. Jake the Snake Roberts. He very, very, very entertaining. I very much like him.
Yeah. I mean, Jake the Snake, should be in the Hall of Fame at this point. What were your thoughts on Nikolai Volkov and Boris Zukov as a tag team?
They're a very good tag team. They just, they did not get much opportunity to really shine, I believe. Very basic, but basic is good. They don't have to do everything like all these guys do nowadays, where they jump off top rope, do many, many flips that make no sense, do all these crazy submissions that they see on all their Japanese wrestling tapes that make no sense in their match. Boris Zukov and Nikolai Volkov could tell a story in the ring, and there's a reason why those guys were on television for all those years. That's one thing I learned in the business, is it's all about being able to go into the ring and tell a story. If you cannot tell a story and you have no psychology when it comes to wrestling, then you'll not be successful. You'll not have a long-lasting career, and that is ultimately what it's all about.
Now let me ask you, we've seen guys from CCW before, get some work with TNA, be it for dark matches, that sort of thing, because, it's, run out of Florida. Have you guys ever had any contact with TNA or thoughts about, working with them at all?
Well, we actually talked to Mr. D'Lo Brown a few times. We wrestled Mr. D'Lo Brown a couple of times. Other than that, we've been there. We've been in the back a few times. Met the right people, network, the normal thing. As for competing, not yet. If it's something that TNA and ourselves, we can come up and maybe put together, be more than happy to go up there and compete.
Yeah.
But it's all going to depend on many different factors. Many different factors. It's a tough business, but we very much like the product. We very much like the people. We very much like competing, and would definitely like to put all three together at some point. But everything has to align, and it has to be one of those things where it's just got to be the right time, right place.
Who are some of your favorite matches you've had against? Talk a little bit about some of the guys you've wrestled that has been the best competition for you guys.
I'd have to say, for us, it'd have to be the Midnight Studs. That would be Bobby Sanford and GT Flash, both great competitors. GT Flash, I guarantee you will be star someday. This man, he is total package. He's trained by Jimmy Snuka. He's trained by Rocky Johnson. He's trained by Soulman Alex G. He's a great competitor. Bobby Sanford, he is wrestling for about 10 to 12 years. He's trained by Marty Jannetty. And these men have proved to easily be our toughest competition. We've wrestled them almost for a year and a half straight, chasing them for belts until we finally beat them. Also, JB Cool and JT Flash, very good competition for us. I'd say for us, there's our most intense competition.
We also very much like competing against the Logan brothers up in Boston. They're very good tag team. You guys definitely will hear something about the Logan brothers.
Yes.
Sometime within the next couple of years. Very young, very good tag team. Very fun to wrestle.
We're going to take a quick little break here, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to continue our interview in the next half hour of the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour on blogtalkradio.com/doyourjob. I am the ConKaiserdor. Alongside me is Old School Avis Hathaway, and we are live with the Red Devil Fight Team. Guys, it's been a great interview so far. I got a couple more questions that we do want to get to here. If you are listening live, you want to call into the show, call in 714-694-4101. Also, our chat room is live, and you can jump in there with any questions you have. And also follow us on Twitter at @doyourjob_between J.O.B. We have the Road to WrestleMania coming up, and I'm sure you guys are probably excited for the big WrestleMania event here. What match you guys looking forward to the most in this year's WrestleMania?
I would have to say for myself, because I like respect more of the older competition, the older style of wrestling. I am looking very much forward to Undertaker versus Triple H. These two men are very seasoned and great wrestlers, and this match should be something that every man in business and wrestling can learn something and take away something from this, and how to put on the best show possible between two men. This is definitely going to be something worth remembering.
I don't really know much about what listed for matches on WrestleMania. Do not get much opportunity to watch television, the wrestling on the television. Most of the time that the wrestling is on the television, I am at work. So I do not have opportunity to see it. But I would have to agree with Alexander and say that I look forward to Undertaker and Triple H. I think that would be a very good match, very exciting, and it's definitely a treat for all the wrestling fans.
Do you guys feel that the Undertaker streak will be ended this year by Triple H?
That I cannot tell you. I'm not exactly sure what they're going to do with it. I don't know how much longer he's planning on competing. I don't know how much longer Triple H is planning on competing. So it could be the last match for both of them, and it's hard to tell how they're going to do it. I don't know if they're going to have Undertaker go out on top, or if they're going to have him go out on his back. It's very hard to tell. I do not know.
I agree with you. I think it's going to be interesting to see how things play out, but I'm also a believer that they're not going to ever end Undertaker's streak. I think he'll continue to be undefeated, and that'll probably be the biggest piece of his legacy, is that whole undefeated streak there. You guys have a lot of experience, like you said, in the Sambo style. Has it been a challenge adopting to a more American style of wrestling?
Not at all.
No, not really. No. I think with the Sambo wrestling, it actually helped our professional wrestling as we make adjustments. Our style tends to stand out more, because we use a lot of our Sambo holds, use a lot of Sambo stand up, and when you do takedowns, as you use Sambo throw, as you use your momentum, which Sambo is very much based like your judo, your jiu-jitsu, where you use momentum and you use leverage to take opponents down. It tends to entertain audience more, because they see a more unorthodox style that they do not get to see too often. So the appreciation from fans tends to resonate with audience reaction and the believability that we can bring to the ring. For us, it makes adjustments more so for our opponents, that they need to be able to go with our style, so as to not knock them too hard or break their arm.
Let me ask you this question here. Give me the first word that comes to mind when you hear the name Ivan Drago.
Rocky.
Mr. Drago, yes. Very entertaining in the movie Rocky. Very much like the movie Rocky, except they paint us Russians out to be very evil. They paint us Russians out to be bad people and people that have evil intentions at all times. And my favorite part of it, I don't know if you guys see movie Bigger, Stronger, Faster. They make joke about Sylvester Stallone. He's the American hero, and he training in a barn and very primitive, and he do it naturally. And Mr. Drago, he train in facility, high tech, with steroid use. And they paint out that Russians are very, very cheat. They cheat with the steroids. When in actuality, in that movie, they say that Sylvester Stallone was all natural, but if you look at him, he not look all natural. So it's one of those things where, you know, they paint us up Russians to be evil, negative people, when in fact nobody is natural. Nobody is saint, you know, American or Russian. But you know, it's American pop culture, and it's a movie. It's a movie, very entertaining. But I very much like Ivan Drago in the movie.
Dolph Lundgren was great as Ivan Drago. You know, it was a Cold War era movie, so they kind of, you know, of course they're going to paint the Russians out to be the bad guys.
Yes. Just like nowadays they paint up Arabs to be bad guys. You know, it's just a cultural thing that goes from, you know, generation to generation. And the best part about it is Dolph Lundgren, he's not even Russian. He's not even Russian. He's Swedish, I believe.
Most of the workers in wrestling, I mean, like Nikolai Volkov and I know Boris Zukov and I think even Ivan Koloff, all these guys weren't even Russian either.
Yeah, the true Russian is Vladimir Kozlov. And Nikolai Volkov, even though Nikolai Volkov, I believe, Ukrainian, which is not Russian, but it's close enough. You know? Neighbors. That's like a Canadian American. Same thing.
Have you ever had, this is kind of completely off topic, I'm just kind of curious about it being a Russian background. A buddy of mine was Russian, and he used to make this soup. I don't remember what it's called. I think borscht or something. It was a cold soup. What is the point of a cold soup? You know what I'm talking about?
In Russia?
Yeah.
It is customary before each meal. You start out with soup, and then you have entree. It is very much like how many Americans have salad, and then entree. In Russia, you have soup. Soup is major part of Russian meals, be it warm soup, hot soup, cold soup, borscht cold soup.
Borscht.
Very good.
Borscht.
Very good. It's very good before some stroganoff or some fish, a fish entree. Very delicious.
Yeah, I tried the borscht, and I got to be honest, I couldn't get into it. It was cold and kind of interesting.
Yes, in our country is very different in terms of customs from American. So when you see our food style, when you see how Russians prepare food, is very different. When we moved here, that was biggest adjustment to hanging out with new friends, is to adjust to food style, because where we come from, we prepare all food. We cook, we clean our food, we prepare ourselves, we clean our own fish. In America, everything is pre-bought, everything is in box, and it's a big adjustment from what we are used to. Very, very different.
America is kind of known for that. We do have in the chat room the manager of the Red Devil fight team, Dr. Red Tyler. He's in the chat. Tell us a little about Red Tyler and how did you guys get hooked up with him, and what is it like having him as your manager?
Yes, Mr. Tyler. He's a very good man.
Mr. Tyler. Yes.
Very good man. When we start in CCW, I actually have Mr. Tyler. They put him with me when I was working singles competition. Mr. Chekhov had not quite started working there yet, but he was working his way in, and then we sat down, and the three of us came up with a plan to form the tag team, which we did. And he's been with us ever since. Very good man, very good manager. Definitely somebody we enjoy having around. Unfortunately for him, he does not get the opportunity to travel much, but we hope that down the line he possibly get opportunity to travel. He has a very, very demanding job on the side, but he's very good at managing everything that we need as far as when we work down here in South Florida. Very good at managing finance, very good at managing travel arrangements, very good at managing any issues we have with promoters, pretty much any business matters that evolve out of wrestling. We go to him to help us, and he's very good with that. He gets bad reputation as a manager, but he's very good. He's very good, and people will start to see that he is a very good man. He's a very good manager, and somebody that we very much enjoy having around.
Talk about the destruction of Snake Master's Army of Darkness. You guys are looking to put them to pasture, huh?
Army of Darkness is a team run by Snake Master Buddha Dean. He used to be with Kevin Sullivan back in old Florida Championship. He was his druid, if you look up. He is the one carrying snakes with purple haze, Kevin Sullivan, Nancy Sullivan. He stayed in Florida for almost 20 years, and he has been on, as you would say, a warpath to try and beat us, but it did not get done. He tried everything, but not too many people nowadays get the best of us. You know, we really provide something different, and we are very, very prepared for all opponents. We do our homework, as you would say.
Well, you have to do your homework. You have to sit down and watch some of the tapes and see what you guys are up against. And certainly, Snake Master Buddha Dean, he's got a history. I mean, obviously, if you watch some of the old NWA, you'll see him with Kevin Sullivan, Luna Vachon, and some of those legends of the business. What other events do you have up and coming, and can you share that with our listeners?
This coming weekend we have off. We train. We go to gym. After that, the 26th of March, we'll be in Davie, Florida, where we compete for CCW. Alexander is wrestling the Blackheart, and I am wrestling Doc Rivers. Should be very exciting show. Very much look forward to wrestling Mr. Rivers. Very good athlete. After that,
we have April 8th and April 9th. We wrestle for FOW in Hollywood, Florida, and Davie, Florida. We take on a six-man tag team with Buddha Dean's Army of Darkness, and I believe on April 9th we take on the Tech Squad, a new tag team down in South Florida. May we wrestle for, I believe, Victory Wrestling Association in Tampa area. We try to stay busy, In wrestling nowadays, it's not necessarily easy to have full schedule, but we definitely try to.
If you are in the South Florida area, please, check out some of these shows. How can people find out more about the Red Devil Fight Team?
We have YouTube channel at youtube.com/Team RDFT. We have Facebook, and Alexander, do you know the address? Or did they just search?
With Facebook, you just search the Red Devil Fight Team, and we will be first to pop up. We are in process of re-registering new website. It will be teamrdft.com. We are working on it at the moment. We have hired someone to handle a lot of our media. With us being so busy, it's hard for us to stay on top of all of our obligations to maintain all of our websites and all of our medias and videos. So we have someone helping us. Dr. Ed Tyler helps us with this. This is one of also his duties as well.
You can just go online, and I believe if you search Red Devil Fight Team, you're either going to find us or you'll find the MMA competitors out of St. Petersburg, Russia. So either way, I'm sure it would be pretty easy to figure it out.
Absolutely, and definitely check out the YouTube. A lot of good matches from the Red Devil Fight Team. Also, some pretty amusing promos. One of those promos you guys did on Fort Lauderdale Beach.
Yes, that's very correct. Yes, and we did promo on beach. Came up with idea because I wanted to have a picture of Russian flag in the sand on the beach of the United States in Florida. And from there, we just kind of goofed off a little bit. I had a couple cups of vodka that day. We had a bottle of Russian Standard vodka that we brought to the beach because they allow vodka on the beach because it's right in the bar district. We had a good time. Alexander brought his fiancée. I brought my fiancée, and we just drank and brought the video camera and stuck the flag in the sand. And
you'll be surprised what you can say when you're drunk. It's very entertaining.
What is your vodka of choice?
Russian Standard.
Russian Standard.
We not like that Grey Goose garbage. No,
garbage.
Absolute is no good. Russian Standard is the way to go. It's the best vodka over here. I also very big fan of Ultimate vodka. It's a Polish vodka. Even though we're not very big fans of Poland, we still like their vodka because they still know what they're doing when it comes to making vodka, which is always good. Potato vodka.
I actually have a bottle of Roscova vodka in the freezer right now.
Roscova.
Yes.
That's my friend. I feel bad for you, and I feel bad for your head tomorrow.
Are you guys a fan of Dan Aykroyd's vodka?
Which one is that?
He has the Crystal Head vodka. It comes in a skull. Have you guys tried that vodka?
Yes. I see. Have not tried it yet. It's very hard to try different vodkas. I vodka snob. Alexander is a vodka snob.
Very much.
With reason, we Russians, it would be like Mexicans with their tequila. The Mexicans are probably tequila snobs, you know, just like Germans are beer snobs. You know, it's part of our culture. So it's very hard to divert when you like something as much as I like my vodka to try different things. But I do want to try it. Now that you mention it, it is definitely something I want to try.
All this talk about liquor is making me kind of thirsty here. We're nearing the end of the show. It's certainly been a great interview having you guys on the show. You know, we certainly hope the best for you guys and hope you guys have a really awesome career and continue to move up the ranks and hopefully, finally get that national access that you're hoping for, which I certainly believe you guys are on your way, to that.
All right, you're listening to Blog Talk Radio, the Do Your Job radio show. This is Mikhail Ivanov.
This is Alexander Chikov.
and we are the Red Devil Fight Team, Krasnaya Dibos Prajaca Brigada, and you're listening to the best Blog Talk Wrestling radio show on the internet.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, guys.
I don't think we could have asked for a better drop there from the best Russian tag team and one of the best tag teams out right now. So we thank you so much for being on the show tonight, guys, and hopefully down the road we can have you back on for a follow-up interview.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Love
Thanks
that.
a lot, guys.
До свидания.
Take care.
До свидания.
All right, that was a Red Devil Fight Team live on the show. Old School, your thoughts on the interview tonight, bud?
I thought it was actually quite good. I mean, you learn a little bit about Russian culture, vodka, wrestling. I mean, what more can you ask?
Exactly, Guy. I mean, you never know what to expect. You book two Russians on the show, and certainly, you never know what to expect. And also we got to, Dr. Red Tyler, the manager of the Red Devil Fight Team, popped into the chat to share some of his thoughts with us here, too. Good stuff, Guy. Very, very good stuff. You want to keep your eye on this tag team. They have a lot of potential. They could be certainly breakout stars in the near future and make some national headlines. Don't forget, next week, March 20th, our special guest will be former ECW original C.W. Anderson will be live on the show. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be awesome. And keep in mind, all of our shows are archived, so you can catch them on demand in case you missed the show. Some great interviews with Tokyo Monster, Cahagas, Axel Rotten, Gilbert. Our last interview with Dab Savage from Georgia Wrestling. You don't want to miss any of these interviews. If you miss them, you can catch them on demand. So for Old School Avis Hathaway and myself, the ConKaiserdor, we say goodnight, and we'll see you next week on the Do Your Job Wrestling Hour. Good night, everybody.
Folks,